Michigan football began the season with Denard Robinson at quarterback, one of the most prolific players in the country, hoping to win the Heisman. And the team looking for a Big Ten championship at least, maybe more. Michigan football ends the season staring at 5 losses possibly, and with shoelaces playing the role of slash. MarkRogersTV just a couple days away from the Outback Bowl in Tampa with South Carolina taking on Michigan. The Gamecocks come in at 10-2, flying somewhat under the radar nationally after back-to-back midseason losses to LSU and Florida. But make no mistake about it, South Carolina is loaded with NFL-type talent, especially on defense. Led, of course, by Jadeveon Clowney at defensive end, the best defensive player in the country for sure. Yes, I said it, South Bend, the best defensive player in the country for sure, and maybe the best player, period, in the country. During April's draft, he will probably be selected number 1. He's got 13 sacks and 21.5 tackles for loss in the SEC. And he's joined in the front 7 by a lot of great players, Chas Sutton, Devin Taylor as well, and the back 4 is not too shabby as well, led by DJ Swearinger. South Carolina's got an exceptional defense. Think Florida, LSU, Alabama. They're right there on that same tier, one of the top 5 to 6 defenses in the country. Michigan counters in the trenches with an experienced offensive line with 97 career starts, led by Taylor Lewin. He's also going to be a high draft pick at tackle for Michigan. But Michigan, despite Lewin and despite experience up front, manhandled in game 1, of course, by Alabama. They're going to have to play much better against the speed and talent of South Carolina up front. One suggestion for Brady Hope in preparing for this game and in calling plays, and Al Borges as well. Do not let Denard Robinson throw the football. He came back against Iowa. He was exceptional running the football against Ohio State. Give South Carolina something to think about. Get the ball into Robinson's hands, but don't let him throw it. He threw 4 or 5 picks against Notre Dame. He is not a passer. He's in a perfect position on the bubble screen, lined out wide at wide receiver, in the backfield taking direct snaps, in the Wildcat running the football and getting some pitches on the option. He tore up the Buckeyes in the first half. They should have gone to him in the second half. He had 8 carries for $122 in the first half, and then they went away from that. They've got to have Robinson giving South Carolina something to think about on defense, lining him up all over the field and keeping Devin Gardner at quarterback, a decent pocket passer who's also mobile. And he's got a couple of decent wide receivers in Jeremy Gallen and especially Roy Roundtree, who needs to make some plays against South Carolina. Unfortunately for Michigan, they've got no running game from the tailback position now that Fitz Toussaint was injured against Iowa, broke his leg, obviously won't be back for the bowl game. His career actually in jeopardy. Fitz Toussaint gave Michigan muscle and speed and a dynamic, legitimate tailback, but they don't have it now. Thomas Rolls and Vincent Smith do not give Michigan the type of production they need at tailback. Their running game's going to have to come out of the quarterback position or out of Robinson lining up all over the place. South Carolina on offense, of course, without their main man as well, Marcus Lattimore at tailback, one of the best in the country, still hurt as well after another serious knee injury. They've got the 2 quarterbacks, though. They're going to play them both, Steve Spurrier says. Connor Shaw, the veteran, the starter, the dual threat. He's a better runner than Dylan Thompson, who got the start in the season finale against Clemson and tore it up. He's got a big arm, 310 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Clemson Tigers. South Carolina, Michigan, key suspensions for the Michigan Wolverines. Not going to help the cause against the SEC here. J.T. Floyd, the corner, will not play at 12 starts. He's a senior. He's been suspended, as has the punter, the Big Ten punter of the year, will not be on the field for Michigan. I did like Michigan keeping this close, but when you consider the inability for them offensively to block the ends of Alabama and South Carolina much stronger and faster at defensive end than Alabama, it's going to be a long day, I think, for the Michigan front trying to block the ends, Clowney and Taylor in particular. Also, the lack of a running game from the tailback position for Michigan is going to hurt as well. And now J.T. Floyd doesn't show up. He's suspended, and so Michigan missing one of its top 2 cornerbacks. So I still think it's going to be competitive. And let's give you a note right here. I'm tired of hearing how the SEC dominates the Big Ten. Yes, there is no question. The SEC is the best conference in the country. The best. I'm not arguing that. However, the Big Ten, check out the records over the past 5, 6, 10 years, has played better than any other conference against the SEC. 13 wins, 15 losses in these bowl games. The Capital One, the Outback, now the Gator, and the BCS Bowl matchups as well. Back to this one, South Carolina, Michigan. Gamecocks cover the 5.5 in a decent ball game, but they've got way too much for Michigan in this one. South Carolina wins it over the Wolverines 31-20. Now, need to hear from you, your pick, your analysis, right here on Mark Rogers TV.